This is the schedule. You got 3 games. You got 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. What's the most intriguing wild card matchup, though, Kyle, as you look at that page, that team? Pick a team, pick a matchup. What angle would you take first and foremost?
Well, I think everybody is already saying we're going to be really surprised if the Dolphins go and beat the Bills. Will we be more surprised if the Ravens go and beat the Bengals? Right? Interesting. They are, the Ravens in all 14 playoff teams are the most mysterious, the least talked about. They're kind of just there, and they're finishing out now a double-digit win season. They got a great coach. They got a bunch of veterans, and we're like, what in the hell is going on with the Ravens? And most of it has to do with Lamar. Lamar hasn't played in a month. He hasn't practiced. He hasn't run around and tossed. He's missed 15 consecutive practices while the team just kind of stays afloat. They've lost 3 of their last 4, and yet here they are playing a playoff game against a division rival they know well. Is Lamar going to play this week? Is he going to come out and they're going to say, we need you, and even your 60% will be better than the backup guys 100%? Because Lamar is not around, Snoop may not play, and they may start Anthony Brown against the Bengals. If they start Anthony Brown against the Bengals and win 8 in a row, they're going to lose, and the season's going to be over. And then we're careening into this bizarre purgatory of Lamar and franchise tags, and are we going to pay him $43 million a year when it's for the 2nd straight season? We can't count on him down the stretch. I'd love to hear from Lamar. I'd love to hear some clarity from Harbaugh about, okay, guys, this is our biggest game in 2 years. Is he going to come out and do the Willis Reed thing, or do we even want him to? There's all sorts of questions that are so strange because all the eyes, Peter, just go to the Bengals, and the Bengals are just on a mission, and they're unstoppable. Could Baltimore go in there and beat them? And if so, who the hell is the quarterback?
Let's unpack the Lamar thing even more, because you'll get very sensitive when you talk about Lamar, and it's now a question of his health, but also, okay, if you are even 50 or 60% with this contract looming, is it best for his career to go out there? Say he gets injured and seriously injures his knee. Does that seriously damage his contract negotiations? Look, that injury, when it happened, there was a lot of fog over exactly what the injury was, how long it would be. He hasn't practiced in over a month.
Right.
Hasn't practiced in over a month. So some people were like, it's a 2 to 3 week thing. We're now at 5 or 6 weeks. Is this a question of do you tough it out, or is it a question of long-term health, or is it a question of, hey, how's your team doing without me? This is my statement. This is what it is on the wall. How do the Ravens look if you built your whole team around me and I didn't get what I wanted this offseason in the contract talks? Now look at what you get when I'm not there. If you're the Ravens, to your point, are you giving $40 million to a guy who's missed all of the last month of the season last year and potentially can miss all the last month of the season this year? It's fascinating, and people are so sensitive because we love Lamar and the players love Lamar. But from a front office decision and a league-wide thing, is there a more glaring storyline that isn't being talked about anywhere? Because people are just like on eggshells, like we don't know his health, so we don't want to assume. We don't know the contracts, he doesn't have an agent, we don't want to assume. The Ravens have been in a fog. They're starting a third-string rookie quarterback yesterday in a big game. I think it's a fascinating story, and at some point, all the sensitivity in the eggshells turns to either frustration or actual questions that what is going on here?
Yeah, and I was going to talk Dolphins and Bills and want no part of it because, like, I hear you guys say, like, do you go out there and you play a 60% yield is better than our 2nd or 3rd string quarterback? And if I'm Lamar Jackson, that's not my issue. If I'm not healthy, then I may not be able to take the field and help our team win. If I go out there at 50, 60% and now I'm playing, now I'm putting my career in jeopardy and my health of my knee. So, yes, we look at the reports that come out, and when a guy gets injured, you hear all the reports, oh, it's this type of PCL, this type, oh, it's a 2 to 3 week injury. Lamar Jackson is a guy who relies on his legs and his feet to do a lot of what is productive in an NFL game. So if he can't go out there and run around on his knee and cut and be able to do some of the things he does, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's 6 weeks, we have to wait for him to get healthy. And I think, to your point, though, it shows that if I'm not out there, we're not the same team, and we've built this team for me to be there and to be successful, but you can't help injuries. Like, he can't help that he got sacked and he hit his knee, and it happened to be the last month of the season. If this happens in week 1, then maybe he comes back and he's healthy down the stretch. But he's not blocking for himself. He got sacked and he got hurt. It's a part of an NFL game, and that's why you assemble a roster, and there's backups and guys have to come in and play. Would you love to have Lamar Jackson down the stretch right now? Of course. And the fact that he hasn't practiced in so long, it's hard to imagine that he's going to be able to go play in this game. It's totally different. You see a guy go out there. We saw that with Jalen Hurts last week. He didn't have a full practice, but he's limited, doing individual, throwing the ball around a little bit. Maybe Lamar's doing stuff in treatment and rehab that we're not seeing, where he possibly could be ready for this game. But sucks for everybody, but I'm not going to question this guy. He's given everything he's had since becoming a Baltimore Raven. Contract he deserves.
It's an interesting thing you just said, because I think the viewer at home says, okay, well, he's been waiting to come to the playoffs.